got to drop this phone off because it just dies all the time. But there's a guy that's lying about me on TikTok, and really what he's doing is he's lying to all you guys that are out there. So I'm doing a quick video. He doesn't understand the Torah. So he was talking about accusing me of things about the Rainbow Covenant. The Rainbow Covenant only begins to be mentioned in Genesis. It's also in Jubilees, okay? And it's also in Leviticus, okay? So it's just being expounded upon and reminded to the Israelites because they lost their way when they were slaves in Egypt, okay? So the covenant that is to the whole entire world, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, is first mentioned in Genesis in your 66 book canon, but you can go into Jubilees, which is, if you knew the depths of the changes that have been made in the Bible, when in Joshua, when it says to go read the book of Jasher, it actually says to go read the book of Jubilees, okay? That's the book that you're supposed to go and read. Now, you're supposed to start to learn what these things are. So he was using the example of things strangled. Well, that means the blood is in it. You're supposed to get the blood out of it. You're not supposed to touch the blood. You're not supposed to eat things strangled. Okay, you're supposed to spill the blood out. You're not supposed to eat blood. It's not good for you. It's carcinogenic. Okay, it's not healthy for you. The other things that you're not supposed to eat are not healthy. They're unclean animals. They were brought in by pairs of two on Noah's Ark, and the clean animals were brought in by sevens. Okay, so go check that out. The second thing is when you're sitting when a teacher is sitting in the seat of Moses, do what the Torah says. Do you not hear what the Torah says? That's what Paul says. When he's talking about that in Galatians 3 and 4, these guys can't tell the difference between sacrificial law, which is for Hagar, okay? You don't want to be that. That's for the Gentiles that are out of covenant, okay? For Hagar, the woman that has no promise will not rule with those who are under the holy covenant of faith, the everlasting covenant. That's the 10 commandments. There's two everlasting covenants, the 10 commandments and the rainbow covenant. So this guy just does not understand. He doesn't even understand that in sacrificial law, if you use it lawfully, it's good. So mixing wool with linen, that's taking on the pagan attire. You want the white robe of righteousness, God's righteousness. You don't take on pagan witchcraft. That's what wool mixing with linen is. It's the same thing with cutting the corners of your beard, or a man wearing woman's clothing and a woman wearing men's clothing. That means taking their authority, okay? Appearing as they are, being a Jezebel and an Ahab, okay? That's the difference. When you use the law lawfully, you'll understand what the spiritual context of it is. But what these guys do, they don't put their listening ears on, so they are false teachers. And they're they're going back to the right. You know, they're going to the right. You're supposed to stay in the path in the middle. That's why there's a parable of the unjust steward. The unjust steward realizes he was unjust like this guy, my wife's husband, okay? If he comes to the place where he repents, he's going to say, oh my goodness, my Lord is going to take my stewardship away from me because I'm teaching false stuff. I'm putting these things on the people that are not supposed to be put on them. So he says, how are they going to accept me now? Like scattering his goods, scattering his people. That's his goods. That's what this guy's doing. All right? Take heed to this. Luke 16. First, it's Luke 15 is talking about prodigal son returning. Then the unjust steward is next, because it's the same thing. All right? All the people waking up. You're following the Torah by hearing the full instruction of God. That's why Christ elevated love your neighbor as yourself, and not to stone them when that woman was at the temple and they were accusing her of sinning. He didn't stone her. He rebuked her. Loving your neighbor as yourself is rebuking them. This guy can't understand that. He can't hear the law. What? You can't hear the law? Galatians 3 and 4. Do you want to be under sacrificial law? Because you will be in its fullness. But those who are in the covenant of promise, which is the original, the way the Israelites were supposed to obey the covenant from the beginning, but they didn't, so God added sacrificial law. And that's what this guy can't understand. Is there valuable things in the sacrificial law to understand? Absolutely. But if they can't hear it when they're reading it on the seat of Moses, Don't do what these guys do. You know, don't be a hypocrite like these guys. But if you can hear what's actually being said, you don't even need the New Testament to understand this. Even David understood it. That's how come he knew the law even better than his rabbis. All right? So don't be deceived by people like this. This guy is he's just trying to heat people to worship him. All right? That's what he does.